Hello everybody, Levi Clay here, back again to do another question and answer session. This time I'm combining two interesting questions that came to me via YouTube and via Facebook. So let's dig into those. So the first question is, well, these are both about transcription. The first question, hello dog, the first question was about transcribing, and the question pertained to this idea that why do you transcribe? Obviously everybody knows why I transcribe, but when you look at good teachers, you'll see time and time again they tell you to transcribe. Go out and transcribe music and it will benefit you. And the question really asked, what are those benefits, and then why is it that there are many great players out there that say they've never transcribed? The argument being, would it not be fair to say that you can achieve all of these things without doing the transcribing? And that's fair. So let's dig into that. So transcription, what is transcription? Transcription is, well, trans, to change, and scription or scribe, transcribe, to write. So you're converting something from one form into written form. So we listen to music and we write it out. That's an important part of transcribing, the actual writing out. And that's where we can kind of drop that side of things. When I say transcription is important, it's not really the written aspect that's massively important. That's good from a professional standpoint. It's good from a communicative purposes, to be able to communicate with people, to be able to write something, compose something, write it out, and then share it with bandmates, for example. Or if you're studying music, to be able to listen to something, find something you like, write out what it is that you like, and then to be able to reference that written material at a later date. That is invaluable. But it's not essential to the sole purpose of transcribing, which is the development of the ear. Improving your ear is the main reason we transcribe music. The main reason we spend so much time working on listening to something and then understanding it, working out what it is. He's just going to keep wandering around, isn't he? You ugly little creature. So, yeah, developing the ear is the most important thing. So when you look at a player that says, I've never transcribed anything in my life, on the one hand, they're probably being completely honest. They've never listened to something and written it out, but they've done the really important part, which is they have listened to something and then worked out how to play that. Now, when I look at the pentatonic scale, a scale that I'm sure you all know, so it's a scale we've all played a lot. If I just stick to pentatonic shape 1, you've probably at some point in your life played. And if you've not, you can hear me play that. Ba ba da ba da, ba da da ba da, ba ba da ba da. Now I'm singing because to me that's where the real benefit is. When I listen to a record and I hear a phrase that I like, it's usually going to be something that I can sing. So I hear the phrase and then I do my best to imitate that, replicate it on the guitar. And that's where this ear stuff really develops. So when you play with the pentatonic scale, I'm sure that if you were playing this lick, I'm going to lift my third finger up and go down to this first finger. You know what that note sounds like before it's played. Ba, ba, da, 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 ba. So when you're playing that sort of pentatonic vocabulary, ba, da, da, ba, da, da, ba, da, da, da. Now when I do stuff like that, I'm being led by my ear. I'm hearing a phrase and then I'm imitating that on the instrument. And that skill has come from transcribing. But I wouldn't need to do the transcribing to develop that skill. The reason we transcribe is that it helps us get that skill faster. It's a focused way of getting that. So that's the answer to the first question. We're all developing our ear. Any given time, we're always just trying to develop our ear on the instrument and hear interesting sounds. So the second question came from a friend of mine on Facebook, and he talked about, because he obviously understands the benefit is the ear and to be able to hear phrases before we play them. Because I talk about all the time that if I can hear a phrase, if I can sing a phrase, then I can play it. There's always going to be exceptions to that, but generally speaking, based on the music I listen to and the vocabulary that's in my head and the style that's in my head, if I can hear something, then if I really listen, if I don't put my fingers where my fingers want to go, but if I really listen, I can hear where I want to put my fingers. And that, again, I'm not perfect with it. It's becoming stronger and stronger by the day, but that's always my long-term goal. Now, my friend Easel talked about this and said there are great players out there that claim they don't have that skill. And, well, I can't truly say this definitively, but I just refuse to believe it. When somebody's been playing for 5 years, you're not a complete beginner, you know. When you're practicing scales, playing things in random ways just for the sake of things, but when you're practicing scales, there might be a genuine sense of surprise when you put my second finger down, ba 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 da. Sing harmonic minor, why not? And a bit flat on that seventh, but ba do do da do bo ba ba da. Hear a phrase, da ga da ba da bo ba ba da 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 da. So I refuse to believe that when you look at great jazz players that they don't have that ability. There might be a degree of putting the fingers in places and sometimes having those happy moments where you go, that's interesting. And of course, there is some benefit to that. Really switching off the ear and not listening for a melody and then replicating that melody, but just thinking, you know, oh, it'd be interesting to break out of my patterns because I always do this. You know, instead of that, if I go, that's not a way I would normally play, and what I was operating from a shape-based perspective there. I just played the pentatonic scale from the higher note to the lower note, moving across the strings. So when you do stuff like that, you're not, yeah, perhaps there's a degree of not listening for a melody and you're just following, but I don't believe for 1 second that that's the way that you play across the board and that you've just magically got, well, actually, give me a second on that, but when you're playing in D minor, there's a degree of me maybe using my ear but also going through shapes and motions, but there's never surprise. I never put my finger down and go, whoa, that wasn't the note I was expecting to hear there, because no matter what I do, my knowledge of the fretboard and my ear is developed to the point that I know when my finger is here, every single place that I could put another note, I know what every single one of those is going to sound like, no matter where my finger goes. So, yeah, there's never any surprise. Now, that doesn't mean that it's impossible to just move around the neck. And our old buddy Tommaso Zilla, like, there's a video on my other channel, one of his like solos, and it very much sounds like somebody that has no idea what sounds are going to come out when they put their fingers down. But that's because there's no grounding of the harmony of the chords, of the progression. It really is a case of, oh, we're in C, cool. you know, that to me sounds fucking dire. And it sounds even more obvious when you do all of these things where you look nervous, your time feel is bad, you're landing at like a C chord lands, and you land on this note. It's not a good note. If you're playing over a C, what I want to hear is that. To me sounds a lot more like a C, but obviously that's down to taste and how you choose to play. But yeah, as I was saying, it sounds even more obvious when these inane ramblings are played, and then you'll have a perfectly executed sweeped arpeggio. That wasn't perfectly executed. Definitely not in the good position to be doing stuff like that. Or, you know, some 3-note per string stuff that, again, much better executed than that. That's the I know what I'm doing thing, and everything other than that is whoa, let's try and find a melody. So yeah, sure, while I know players like that absolutely exist, I don't believe that good players have that. I honestly believe that even if you're completely unaware of it, there's this degree of knowing. When Dave Gilmour plays, I don't think I could sit down and have a lesson with Dave Gilmour where he could teach me anything with his mouth, but he could teach me a world of things with his hands. That sounds dreadful, doesn't it? He could teach me a world of things with his hands. He could teach me a world of things with my ears, just listening and watching what he does. Because he's totally a master of his craft. He's totally in control of his craft. And it's something that, you know, I've stolen from. When I go, if I'm playing in D minor, and you can't steal vocabulary like that without having the ear. Yeah, so hopefully that was of use and interest to some of you out there. If it wasn't, I apologise profusely. Lastly, big thanks, of course, to my wonderful patrons. These guys over here support my channel at a $10 tier. Patreon's going fantastic, actually. We've got, I think, 52 people now. These guys, as I say, are $10 or more guys, but there's plenty of guys over there that are supporting me for $1 or more, and if you'd like to join that group of awesome people and our private Facebook group and all the chat that goes on regarding videos and lessons and all of that cool stuff, you can do so by clicking that button up there. Subscribe to my channel by clicking that button down there, and you can also check out 2 more of my videos there and there. Thank you so much as always for the support, guys. Keep the questions coming in, likes, comments, subscribes, shares and all of that good stuff, and I'll be back for another video soon, whether you like it or not. Bye.